Hey guys, it's Erick Silvermoon, aka the Lunar Wolf. Today I decided to take a hike. I don't know exactly where this is at, but I'll show you a little bit. I'm on top of a rock overlooking Arizona. And I'm exhausted. I actually ran here and almost threw up. I don't know if that means that I did it right. I'm exhausted. I don't know what I was going to talk today about, to be honest. I wanted to talk about my experience with the gay community, but I don't know. We'll see where this conversation goes, but I think one of the things that people ask me the most right now is why I'm in Arizona and why I left California. It's not a big story. There's no drama. My job, pretty much what I do for a living, asked if I wanted to relocate to Arizona, and there's really not much going for me in LA, so I decided why not. They offered me a really nice moving package, and they offered it also to my fiance Erick. So we made good money from coming out here, and to be honest, it's actually really nice. I really enjoy being out here. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. We live in Tempe, Arizona, which is actually convenient because there's everything exactly where we live. There's a lot of good stores, a lot of things that we normally would get out in LA. So it's really good stuff out there. So I really like it here. And yeah, it's been nice. It's been very peaceful. The sunlight, the desert, it hasn't been too hot. It's been very, very nice. I think the highest I got was 99. But it didn't feel hot. I think when you walked out, it felt a little bit warm, but it's the sun that tells you exactly what degree it is. Like when it's 99 degrees, the sun will tell you it's 99 degrees because you're like, oh shit, I'm getting dark. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. I really enjoy it here. I love all these hikes. I downloaded this app that showed me different hikes in the area, so that'll be kind of fun to do. And I'm really excited. So yeah, that's why I'm here in a nutshell. But I did kind of want to talk about, like I mentioned earlier, about the gay community and my experiences. I'm trying to make sure I don't drop my phone because it's a long way down, I think. I don't even know why I got up here, to be honest. And there's not a lot of people either. But anyways, so a lot of people don't know this, but I guess I say I have post-traumatic stress, but I haven't gone to see a doctor, which I think I should. And probably by the time I finish sharing with you my experiences, you're probably gonna be like, you need to go see a doctor, which I'm pretty sure I do need to. But some of you actually may know, I went through a lot of serious bullying when I was younger for being gay, for being different. It was not only verbal abuse, it was physical abuse, it was emotional abuse. It was just very traumatic growing up. And I think it was just kind of different and difficult to kind of deal with things. And I think one of the main things that I got from that experience, from that trauma, was wanting to not leave my house at all. I was pretty much just staying indoors. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to go anywhere. It took me a really long time to feel comfortable with just getting out and going out with my friends. I always make some excuse because I didn't want to go. And the reason for that, because I didn't want to be confronted at a restaurant or at a bar. I was constantly in a state of stress because I was getting really nervous. Every time I made some kind of eye contact with a guy and he looked at me, and I thought, oh shit, he figured me out. Either I'm acting too feminine or something's gonna happen. His friends start looking. So it was just stuff like that in my mind. And I couldn't allow myself to be myself. I would constantly like try to like stiffen up, not show much emotion, not really show much of anything. And then my friends would just not really sure if they knew what was going on or if they had kind of like had an idea, but I just didn't do anything. Eventually I just kind of wanted to leave. And now it's kind of to the point where like I still have those episodes, I guess I would say they are, where I don't want to go out. I don't want to go to eat. I know this last episode here in Arizona, because I guess over here it's a little bit different and people have warned me about Arizona, but I went to a restaurant with Erick, and we always have a beer, but this time I didn't want a beer, kind of wanted a margarita. So I got a margarita, and then this guy like looked at me, and he was like macho kind of guy, and he was drinking a beer, and he was just staring at me drinking my margarita, and I was like, fuck, maybe I should have gotten a beer. Like what's going on? Because it was just like a table full of guys, and I was getting kind of worried, and I was thinking to myself that that's fucked up. I shouldn't have to, be out here having all this stress and anxiety and fear when I'm just trying to have a date with my fiance and have a good time and relieve ourselves of stress. But being out is causing me stress, and at that point, like, I didn't feel like drinking my margarita anymore. And I kind of just wanted to like order a beer because I felt like that was a norm. So it was just a bad situation, I think, for me. But the more that I think about it, like I literally have to talk myself into going out. Like I have to coach myself that it's okay, that I'm not going to let my fear get away of me experiencing life and experiencing things with my friends. And in those moments where I catch myself kind of thinking about either something's going to happen, like I'll make sure to question myself, am I safe? What's my strategy, exit strategies in case I do feel really in danger. And, I need to open up to my friends where I could safely feel comfortable saying that I don't feel safe. Can we go somewhere else, or whatever the case is? But so far hasn't really happened. But and that's just with like in the straight muggle world. But in the gay community, I also feel a little bit like that too, where I'm at with, friends, and I don't go very often, but if I'm with friends and we go out to like a bar or whatever, it feels that same kind of stress and anxiety, which is really interesting, where I feel like I'm being judged by the way I look, by the way I'm acting, that I'm either acting like either too feminine or to whatever the case is. Like it's the same kind of energy, which is weird, but it's not in like a fearful thing where I don't feel like I'm in danger or anything like that, but it's the same kind of judgment. And then I say the gay community very loosely, because I don't mean like the LGBTQ plus community. I just mean gay men specifically. It's the same kind of bullying mentality, I think, that I've come to understand. Because if you don't fit in a certain mold or body physique, or whatever the case is, then you're not necessarily accepted amongst other gay men, which is really sad. I almost feel like you have to have the perfect body, and that's such a hard expectation to live with, especially with the anxiety and stress that come with that, the eating disorders that come with that. It just becomes so disgusting and sad, but very real and very current. And that's just what I've faced. And so it's kind of like a weird thing where I don't feel comfortable in the gay community. And again, I say that loosely. And I don't feel comfortable in the normal community. So I just feel like I'd rather just stay home. And I think that has become my norm. I don't have much friends. I don't like getting to know people. It's a bad situation, I think. But I opened myself up. I think, like I mentioned, this whole reason that I'm doing this whole last 2018, I decided to put myself out there. I went out to meet a lot of different men, to be friends, and I got a lot of good experiences. And then a lot of my things that I was thinking that would happen did happen, and then I realized that it wasn't too bad. It was just all in my head. I made it a lot worse than it seemed, but the whole judgment part, that was, I think, the one that was reassured that it is something that's very, very strong and real in the community, and it's really sad. Like, I've seen conversations where somebody goes up to somebody and asks, "Hey, can I get you a drink?" And then they'll literally look that person up and down and be like, "No." And they'll be like, "I can't believe you came up to me." And I'm like, that's awful. Like, but at the same time, this is also what I get. I don't trust gay men because I feel like there's a second intention. Like, they come up front first really friendly, and then, I'm really friendly back, and then they get very flirty, and then it just ends up going a whole different direction, and I'm leaving like, I really can't meet people. I can't talk to people. I can't meet friends. It just doesn't happen. So that's one of the other issues that I have is for men out there, for gay men specifically. Just be yourself. Be friendly. Be kind. Don't assume that the other person's interested. Don't assume that they think you're interested. Just go out and talk to people, and then be friends first. Be friends and see where that goes after that. But I think it's just very, I don't know, disheartening to go out and then find someone and have a good conversation, and the next thing you are, they're either trying to touch you, or they're just putting your hands on you, or their mouth. It's really gross. It's really gross. And I have that happen almost every time we go out, and it just makes me not want to go out and socialize. It just makes me want to stay here amongst the cactuses. But yeah, that's pretty much what I talked about. I wanted to bring that up in conversation because I don't feel like that gets communicated a lot. I don't feel like people are talking about it. And I think it's a real concern. I think that a lot of people in our community are having, because I also had experience like this with the witchy community, with other gay men. I remember going to a pagan Pantheacon in San Jose, and I remember meeting some guys there, and I was like really excited because I was like, wow, like I finally get to meet some gay male witches. That was my first time in San Jose, one. And then it was my first time at Pantheacon. That was another one. And it was my first time meeting another gay male witches. So what happened is that it was all very friendly. It was all great. We all talked, and we were thinking about like, let's go meet up for drinks afterwards, or whatever the case is. And then one of the guys goes like, "Oh, well, we're having something in our room. Did you want to come hang out?" I was like, "Yeah, like that. No, that'll be awesome. I'll go." And then the next thing I know, he like leans in to kind of give me a hug, which is no big deal. Like, I was just gonna go ahead to reach a hug, but then he starts kind of like licking my neck, and then that was like when I was like, no, and I just kind of backed off. And he apologized. He said, "Oh, I thought you gave me signals," or something like that. I was like, no, like that was awful. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, I apologize. Maybe I wasn't sure if maybe you misread something, whatever. So I kind of put that behind me. And I still decided to, just go up because I'm not going to let one person kind of ruin the opportunity for me to meet other people. But when I got to the hotel room, I kid you not, it was just like a makeout session with everyone. It was just like an orgy about to happen. And I just remember feeling really kind of hurt and pissed off about it, because I was kind of excited to meet other people, and I didn't expect it to be something like that. And after that, I was just kind of like, I'm done. I'm kind of done getting to know people, getting to know male witches, getting to know gay men, just in general, and threw myself more into just having fun with my gals. I don't know, it's become such a difficult experience, and I don't know if I'm the only one that's having this experience, which I don't think I am. I just don't know how many other people are having this experience, but I think it's one of those things where if you are having this experience, just make sure that you're cautious on how you're acting, because also that don't mislead people either. Don't give people the wrong ideas or the wrong signals, if I guess that makes sense. Just be aware of how you're coming across to other people. But one of the things I didn't want to talk about is, again, in the whole aspect of bullying. I had a theory because I was trying to understand why in the gay community there is so much bullying within each other rather than it being a beautiful brotherhood of men that have gone through so much trauma already, of why in our own community is there still that same trauma, that same hate, that same jealousy, the same toxic behaviors. I don't understand it. And so I started to think about a quote that, oh my God, I'm going to butcher it. It's from my favorite movie. Oh my God. Okay. It's from Once Upon a Time. Is it Once Upon a Time? Oh no, Ever After. Ever After with Drew Barrymore. And I don't remember the quote, but it was when they were trying to punish the people for stealing. And she said something that from Utopia. And it said something about punishing, first creating the thieves and then punishing them for their crimes that they were first exposed to from infancy, something like that. And I was thinking about, oh, it's starting to get warm. I started to think about that because I was like, okay, so, and I'm guilty of it. I'm definitely guilty of bullying and belittling somebody and taking someone's power. And I started to think about, why did I do those things? And in those moments of me being bullied, me being taken advantage of, my power being taken, feeling that kind of abuse, I feel like I was born into that. Like I was raised to believing that that is okay. That, well, even though I felt like it wasn't okay, but I felt like it was going to be normal. And I think what happens is when we get older as a gay male and we start getting out of this trauma into our own realities, our own friends, our own families that we're building and creating, we do go through this second adolescence, and we live out the youth that we didn't get to live when we were in high school. So the parties, the drinking, and it becomes such a new exciting experience because now we're adults and we have money and we could do all this crazy stuff. But in that moment, we are starting to get our own power. And what we've come to understand, what I came to understand, is that what I understood of power is that you don't have it your own. You don't have your own power. You're supposed to take it from somebody. And so I did the same thing when I was younger, and I thought it was a hot piece of shit. I would be rude to people that I didn't feel needed to come and talk to me. Like it was a bad thing, but I also was really young. I was 17. I'm gonna be 34 now. It was one of those things where you put someone down to build yourself up because that's what you thought was right, because that's what the bullies and the straight kids did to you. And I think it's just a unintentional thing. I think it's deeply rooted in our trauma, in our fear that this is okay and we do this. And so I see gay men, young gay men, being in a way raised in abuse with trauma and bullying, and as they get older they become the bully and the, what is it called, the word I want to use, but we just become those bullies and in our own community instead of it being something that brings us together, that kind of holds us in. So it's at the same time I can't feel angry or mad or anything about these men that are being bullies, because that's all we've been exposed to, that's all we might know. But there's a difference between being in that kind of environment and doing that kind of environment and being aware of it and being okay with it. That's where I don't have that's where I have an issue with. But if we're unaware that we're doing this and it gets brought up and it gives us the opportunity to think about that we're being the bullies here, when we work so hard to get out of that situation, and the last thing we want to do, or the last thing I want to do, is make someone else feel the way that I felt with that shit that was going on, and make someone feel less than. And so I work really hard on myself, because that's the only thing that I can do, is take personal responsibility with my own actions, with who I am, and be able to take accountability for that, and realize that what I did before was wrong and what I'll do now is better. And I hope that I can learn and grow from it. But at the same time, a lot of people misinterpret my kindness and my compassion and my friendliness for something else, what makes it challenging. But at the same time, it doesn't cause me to stop trying to be a nice person and stop, giving my time to other people, regardless of their gender, regardless of their body type, regardless of whether they're too masculine or feminine. I treat everyone equal. That is something that I can 100% know that I work very hard on making sure that no one feels different, that no one feels that someone's time is valued. My time is valued more for someone specifically, either because of their gender or whatever. But at the same time, I have a lot of trauma that I'm dealing with. There's a lot of things that I get triggered, so I might pull away from someone, and it's not a personal thing. It's just that either a characteristic and a personality or something that they did triggers me, and I have to get comfortable with communicating that with the person so that they don't feel that I'm neglecting them because of who they are. It's just one of my traumas got triggered, and I'm working through that. And I think that's important for us to communicate. But one of the other things I did want to bring up too is the whole lunar wolf, which is my witchiness, which I explained earlier, as well as the theme for this series. Because I want to create, well, here's the thing, I don't want the responsibility, but I would like to have a brotherhood, a wolf pack of men that I can trust and confide in and share my experiences and trauma and heal together without having it be about sex, without having it be about, I guess that's really it, the issue. I don't know what it is about gay men and sex and getting their validity or from sex or being desired. It's such a twisted thing. But I just want to be around men where it does not have to be around sex. And I get that we are very animal, sexual driven, beings. Men in general are constantly thinking about sex. I constantly think about sex, but it doesn't, cause me to get all crazy and start masturbating everywhere. Like, I don't know, it's just weird, but, and I don't know where I went with that, but it's just one of those things where it's just, I don't get it, and I feel like we're more than just sexual beings, and so I don't know, I just want to be a part of a community that is more open-minded, that is more about connecting with other men, where it becomes more than just desires of the body, that it's a little bit more of a mental, emotional relationship. And I am very envious, not in a negative way. I don't want to use the word envious, it sounds very awful, but I'm inspired, I should say, by the sisterhood in the community with female witches. I'm inspired about how women connect in such an intense emotional level. It is something that is so beautiful. It's like a bond. And when you put men in a room, it's like a magnet, that with the negative side of the magnet, where they're just constantly pulling on each other because they don't connect. They don't want to connect emotional. It's a very sad thing, and I do hope it changes, and I'm hoping that by me sharing this, it opens up people's minds and awareness on what happens, and I hope conversations start. I'm gonna get off of this rock because it's starting to get really hot, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of like all over the fucking place, and I'm trying not to be too loud because there's other people like hiking underneath me, but I did want to open up the conversation, so please feel free to communicate the comment section below. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. Hit the little bell at the bottom so that you never miss any videos that I post. And I still want to do some art. I'm working on creating some different art pieces. I did share a little bit about on Instagram about opening up my Silvermoon page and my Society 6 website, which I'll share with you in just a moment, as well as some lovely little videos of the hikes here. And again, it's so beautiful. It's wonderful. And so, listen to you guys. I will see you next week. Bless me.